Yeah, this, like I said, there could be two ways to kind of look at this, right? Like, this could be accumulation, manipulation, and then distribution higher, right? So there's a couple power of threes kind of playing out right now. We could see manipulation or accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? So all I'm trying to do, I'm not expecting, okay, so let's kind of break this down, right? So I'm not looking for this daily high, right? I'm not looking for this daily high to get ran, especially since yesterday was kind of an expansion day, right? All I'm expecting is for price to maybe trade up into here and distribute again lower or close back in the range. If we had this big candle, right, it's fine that this can be basically a a candle that just kind of consolidates, right? Like it's not going to be an expansion candle, but we can still make profit, right? If we're shorting up here and price just closes back in the range, say, price just closes, around here, like we sweep this level and price just consolidates all day. But there's still an opportunity. That's what I'm saying, because we're trading so much higher now. We're above midnight open. We're trading into a premium. So there's a little bit of more of an opportunity to short, in my opinion, right now, because I don't have this daily high as a target. That would be the only like clean level to me to target. And there's no low hanging fruit, because we're already basically trading into the low hanging fruit here. We have this fair value gap. That would be the low hanging fruit, right? So now I just feel like there's way more opportunity for shorts because we are starting to build some low resistance liquidity, right? We have this data low, this daily fair value gap low as a final target. But, we have NYSE open liquidity, right? Down here. We can mark that out. Especially when we consolidated like this. So we had the open, we drove down lower, and now we swept the high, but we have yet to take the low, right? Also, these data lows. So just building a story here as to why I lean a little bit more bearish, right? And we could be wrong, right? Like, obviously, we could be wrong about this trade entirely, and we could distribute all the way higher towards this daily high. I'm just not expecting that, right? All right, so we're sweeping that high here. We're trading through London high. I like this trade here. So I'm going to go ahead and put on one position
Order, order
with
submitted.
a nice hefty stop. We're trading above this right here. This buy side liquidity. I'm basically a turtle soup entry. That buy side liquidity is also tapping into a 30-minute fair value gap. So I basically want to see a reaction off this 30-minute fair value gap. So I'm getting a really good fill here, right? Because we're above midnight open and we're trading into a premium. Now, what I want to see is actual confirmation, right? So we trade maybe below this fair value gap, right? We start trading below this fair value gap, then I can scale in. Once I scale in, I can trail my stops and my risk to reward gets a lot higher. And we can target this NYSE open liquidity, right, as a low hanging fruit target. We don't even have to go for the data lows or the daily fair value gap low because now we have such a good fill. And like I said, this trade can be completely wrong. We can trend higher all day, but that's perfectly fine. We're just building a higher time frame narrative, and our probability of our trade playing in our favor is a little bit higher, in my opinion. So there's a lot of annotations on the chart right now, but I've kind of explained my thought process on all of it. Also, we're creating the wick on the 4-hour candle here. I want to see this trade back down. Create the wick, trade lower. Same on the hourly. We have this fair value gap that formed. I would want to see this, or that's kind of forming, right? Like during this hour, I don't want to see this kind of close as a fair value gap. I want to see it reverse. This could actually be an opportunity for a big profit day, in my opinion. If we trade all the way back down into this data low and we were able to scale in on this trade, we could see a 5-hour trade play out here. If we're able to scale in. I'm gonna take this off the screen because that is a little distracting. I'm gonna take this SMT off. London high, I'll leave. Yeah, now we're chilling. Now we are chilling. We want to see this this fair value gap get disrespected. This would be the first one. We also have this fair value gap here, so this is considered a void. We would need price to trade all the way through that. So if I was to take another position below this fair value gap, if I was considering it a inverse fair value gap, my stops would have to be above the high, right? So my new stop loss would be right above the high if I was to enter again at the inverse fair value gap. So I'm thinking ahead. Like, I know I want to scale into this trade, but I'm thinking ahead, like where my stop loss would be, because I would basically be averaging down on my position. So I know if I add one more contract, it's going to be half of the size, right? So about halfway from my entry to the inverse fair value gap is about right here. And then I just measure out from that point, right? Like where my stop loss would be. I know my stop loss needs to be 200 ticks, right? So it would be at the high. And essentially, if we go any higher than that, then like I would be wrong about the trade. So. Okay, so this 5-minute fair value gap is being respected right now. You targeted the London high. Um, so like you mean the pre-market high since London was taken, Peter? We've got 3 seconds on this candle. 2, 1. We did not close below the fair value gap. Yeah, we like absolutely top tick this right now. If this trade plays out, it'd be kind of insane because we like top ticked it. Oh, you're trading spot. Okay, I see. I got you. Yeah, literally, this is like a sniper entry here at the 30-minute fair value gap, essentially. Do, 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 do. All right, so we got 3 minutes on this candle. I want to see this this invert. I want to see this invert, and then maybe get another entry here, and then we should fill this entire void here. Yeah, this could be a big profit day if we're able to scale in here. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We've been having some really rough price action the past 2 weeks, so hopefully we get, you know, nice distribution here and not chop around again, right? Like we've already had some clean movement here, so hopefully we can keep it going. Now I do want to see price kind of quickly move away from this level, right? With a little bit of force, because if we start consolidating here, what that tells me, if we consolidate here for all of 10 a.m., right? That's just telling me it's grabbing liquidity to go higher, right? And I would not feel safe in this trade anymore. So I do want to see price kind of move away with force, right? Trade below this fair value gap here, trade into here, and then maybe lower. This is what I'm kind of looking for. I want to see strong displacement from this area in the next 30 minutes. Because like I said, if we're just consolidating in this area, we'll just go higher. So getting this candle closure in 50 seconds. Put a little eyeball right here. That's going to be the low hanging fruit target. Okay, 20 seconds on this candle. Still looking for this to invert. Okay. We actually get the inversion there. So we're going to trade back up into that range a little bit. Waiting here. Just want to see a little wick back up into this inverse fair value gap so we get a good fill. And this fair value gap is a good sign right here. We could trade back up into this CIVI. Just waiting for a little move back into that inverse fair value gap. You can see it barely ticked into it. Barely ticked into it. But I didn't get an opportunity. I don't know if we're going to get the opportunity again. Yo, what up, Charles? What's going on, man? I saw you just pop in here. Good morning, good morning. Popped in at the right time, just about to scale in on this trade if we get it. But we could see price run pretty hard here. Basically just completely inverse everything that just happened. Which I kind of like the idea of that. We actually didn't trade into this 5-minute volume imbalance again. So that's an interesting target right there as well. PC Jason been bugging anybody? That doesn't ring a bell. Is it from this server or just in general? Mm-mm. I haven't heard it, but Hmm. Yeah, that's weird. Anybody like begging you to join their group and like that is just it's very weird, right? Like I'll put my content out there and I'll give people the option like if they want to come watch me trade, like I'll help them out and stuff, but yeah, it's just giving bad vibes for sure. Charles, you got long this morning at 8:30, out at 9. Amazing, brother. Good work. Good work. Um yeah, we had that 8:30 news event. I do want to see this 15-minute invert, right? I want to see this 15-minute candle invert in the next 5 minutes. So we would basically need a closure back below 210. Right? So we did have ES take that high, which is good. Like I said. Yeah, we got this candle closing in 5 minutes. This could be a breakaway gap here. So now if I was to enter again, my stop loss would be above this fair value gap, which is kind of okay still. You know, because then I would be absolutely wrong. So I want to see price maybe trade up into here a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, I'm paying attention to this 15-minute candle right here, right now, because if this 15-minute candle inverts, you know, it's pretty clear that we're going to be trading a little bit lower. But I don't want to see it reject. Yeah, this would be perfect confluence as well. 30-minute candle closing back in the range, 15-minute candle inverting this fair value gap, 5 minutes showing displacement. All signs are pointing down right now. We shall see. And you could see ES is actually inverting a bunch of fair value gaps here as well. 15-minute closing below. Yeah, ES looks like it's going to sweep NQ, or the NYSE open, excuse me. NQ is going to sweep the NYSE open, so it's ES. Let's see. We have this small fair value gap here. We have this breakaway gap. I'm just trying to find an opportunity to be able to scale in one more time. Yeah, I'm going to take another sell here.
Order
Okay,
filled.
now my average is right here. Now I want to move my stop loss right above this high, right? So this still is less than a 1 hour risk. Modify my stops, bring this down. So I'm still risking less than $200 here. And I want to see this 15-minute invert in the next 2 minutes. Now it's fine if we trade back up into this inverse fair value gap. I would just want to see this bearish fair value gap hold, and for price not to come back to this high. I want to see this be the high for 10 a.m. And we're currently looking at almost a 4R trade. So this would be 4R right here. Up 102 on the day. Let's go, man. What percent is that for you? Or is that are you trading a personal account when you say that? 700 per account. Okay, nice. Perfect. Amazing, man. Did you you caught these longs here? I know you were favoring more of a bullish bias, right? Did you catch these longs off the open? Long and shorts. Damn, you're playing both sides, man. Good work. Good work. All right, so we got 20 seconds on this 15-minute candle. I really want to see it invert. I really want to see it invert here. We did have an inversion here on ES. Okay, so we're not getting that inverse fair value gap. Not yet, at least. Okay, so we're getting that wick Okay, so we could see ES maybe trade up into here. This could leave behind a fair value gap. Let's see how this pans out. Making a nice wick here for the 30-minute candle, as well as the 15-minute candle. I want to see this flip and distribute lower. Also, we got a 5-minute fair value gap here that we can trade into. Trading into it right there. And I don't think I want to add another contract, because if I add another contract, basically this would be my stop right here at this fair value gap, and there's a possibility we still trade into that. However, I don't mind the idea. I don't mind the idea of stops being above that fair value gap there. Trailing, yeah, stops would be right about there, which is kind of tough. Kind of tough. What's ES look like? ES kind of looking the same. Okay, I'm gonna scale in. I'm gonna scale in one more time.
Order filled.
Yep, looks pretty good to me. So now my stops would be above this fair value gap here. Still risking 1R. So now our stop loss is extremely tight, and we're looking at a 5R trade right now. Yep. So this is 5R. By scaling in. Now, if we break below this candle and the next 15 minutes or the next 12 minutes inverts this fair value gap, then we can put our stop loss at break even. If we start closing below here on the 5-minute. Yeah, it's actually funny because I was just talking about that. So it kind of depends, like on this trade, like there would be no reason for me to scale in anymore, right? Because it would kind of put my stop loss in an invalid spot, right? So we could see price come back and trade into this fair value gap, but I don't want to see, obviously I don't want to see it get filled completely. We can trade back into this inverse fair value gap and trade lower. For break even, what I want to see is I basically treat it as like my stop loss, right? Like if I have my entry and I don't want to see price come back to a certain point, you know, and if that point is break even, you know, or I don't want to have any more risk on the table. So it's a little touchy feely when it comes to break even, right? Because I could have put my stop loss at break even there, but it's still in the area of this inverse fair value gap. It could still get traded into, just like what happened, and now we're trading lower again. So I would have been stopped out on that trade right there. So trade management is a whole skill in itself for sure, but you could obviously have taken this trade up here at the top tick with a super safe stop loss, and you could have moved your stop to break even. Like if you have that initial entry up here, now, you know, we would have had that entry right here and your stop loss could have been like, you know, right here. So you still would have been in profit. You know what I mean? Moving your stop loss to profit. But my whole idea here is I'm trying to get higher risk to reward. Whereas like this up here was only a 1 to 2 risk to reward. But now I have a 1 to 5, right? 1 to 5 risk to reward. Just by scaling in and having the same stop loss, but my initial risk is still the same. Now, when you do this and you're more aggressive with scaling in, you're gonna lose more trades, right? You're gonna lose more trades for sure because you're tightening your stop loss a lot. But as long as you're putting it in a safe area, you know what I mean, and it makes sense to scale in, you're not just like scaling in to scale in. You know, it's kind of like a skill you have to learn. And you could see like before I'm entering trades, what I'm doing is I'm measuring out where my stop loss would be, right? To make sure it's in a safe spot. So you always just want your stop loss or break even points or take profit points, you know, in logical areas where it would be invalid, right? And like, you know, for example, you know, the stop loss here would invalidate my trade. If we start trading back above this fair value gap, it completely negates my idea and we will trade higher, right? This high will get taken after this fair value gap inverts, right? So all you're doing is you're just building a story and managing risk. That's all you can do at the end of the day, right? And this is also why I stay on the 5 minute, right? Like I don't trade down here on the 1 minute time frame because you know you could find opportunity to scale in a lot on the 1 minute time frame, but you could definitely chop yourself up by doing that. You know, because there's just way too many PD arrays that are, you know, irrelevant. There's so many fair value gaps in here and order blocks and continuation blocks. Like there's so much in here and so much going on. So right now we're just we're consolidating in this area to go a little bit lower. And once we break through, we have this candle closing in 7 minutes. So I want to see expansion and invert this 15-minute fair value gap. Once we invert this 15-minute fair value gap, we can put our stops to break even, right? Now, with this trade, I do need to be careful because I am in profit on the accounts, right? So I'm up $250. Now, when you're chasing high risk to reward trades, if you go in profit $800 and it comes back and hits you break even, you're basically down $800 because of a trailing drawdown, right? So when I'm trailing my stops, I never want to risk more than 400, right? If that makes sense from the trailing drawdown. So if I'm up $800, right down here, if I'm up $800, then my stop loss needs to be up here because that trailing drawdown is still going to hit me for $400 if it goes back, right? That's why I'm a big advocate of base hits on these accounts, right? And I might end up taking profit here, you know, once this hits like $600 profit or $500 profit because of the trailing drawdown. It can really kill you, you know, and in like, if I hit stop loss right now, I was up $350, right? So instead of being up or being down $350, if I hit stop loss, I'm now down $550 instead. Now, what's good about it is the next trade, I don't have to worry about the trailing drawdown, right? Like if I've already, you know, if I was already up in profit and now I'm in drawdown, I don't have to worry about the trailing drawdown anymore. But you know, if you're heavily in profit on the account, you can definitely burn yourself, if the trade goes against you. That's why it's really, really good to take these base hits while you're building the account up. All right, so we got 5 minutes on the 15-minute candle. Let's see what ES is doing. ES has not taken the liquidity from NYSE Open yet, which is good. We're kind of in confluence. NQ is a little stronger. NQ is a little stronger. ES is definitely the better asset to trade here in terms of weakness. But yeah, 3 minutes. 3 minutes on this candle. So we did take out that low on the 1 minute time frame, which is interesting. You can see it here on the 5 minute as well. We took out the low of the previous candle. And we're trading back higher right now. Now here is where I kind of want to analyze the situation, right? Because we could be creating a bottom wick, right, for a 4-hour candle, right? So if we create a bottom wick to go higher, that's a possibility. So we need to have price action support here. In the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I want to see it trade back down lower here. Because I don't like the way how this candle is kind of consolidating. I did want to see 1015 to 1045 have a little bit stronger of a displacement down towards here. But the fact that we're respecting almost 50% of this candle, I'm not a huge fan of that. So trading higher here. Could trade up into this fair value gap, or it could completely reverse here and trade higher. So we're trading back and forth in this range. Not too bad. Could be a situation like yesterday where we seen the last 15 minutes of 10 a.m. kind of trade lower. But yeah, like I said, battling the trailing drawdown, I might end up taking profit once we make a little bit lower of a leg, because I don't want to be up $500 and then the trade completely reverse on me. And then I'd be down like $700. Okay. So 50 seconds here. 50 seconds, we could be inversing this 15-minute fair value gap. My eyes are on this candle right here. This 15-minute candle. $15 seconds. Let's see it trade lower. A little bit lower. Wow, it literally closed just below Okay, so this should continue a little lower here. Now we're inversing. We're trading back up into this inverse fair value gap on the 15-minute. Trading into here. This could have been a good scale in entry again if I wasn't already scaled in 3 times. Still trading in this range. But expecting one more leg lower here. And if you're a fan of standard deviations plays, you could measure out this play right here. And you could use a standard deviation of 1 if you were trading like on the higher time frame and you consider this a manipulation leg. This would be your entry and you would target this 1 standard deviation. But I don't really subscribe to that too much, only if it's like a confluence with what I'm currently trading. Like I said, I don't want to see price trade back above this fair value gap at all. Bitcoin 5-minute chart. Let's check it out. Bitcoin doing a lot of consolidating here. Yeah. Interesting. Straight up. Yeah. Bitcoin's been on a tear, man, lately. Bitcoin's been on a tear. Ryan coming in hot with the trade. You guys can start posting this if you guys want. You guys can start posting that stuff in like the trading chat or general chat too. Trading crypto. I do use ICT concepts when I'm looking at like Bitcoin and stuff. But I don't actively like trade it, right? But the concepts work on anything. The concepts work because at the end of the day, it's not ICT concepts, right? He put the verbiage on it. But it is just how the market moves and what the market's doing. All he did was create a language that was easier for people to basically use, you know? But like support and resistance is nothing better than like liquidity, you know what I mean? When price trades into support and sweeps support and goes higher, all that's doing is it's a liquidity sweep, you know? It's sweeping sell side liquidity. Same with like supply and demand. People call supply and demand like order blocks, stuff like that. So it's just different verbiage is all. But you know, yeah, a lot of my I started trading ICT about 3 or 4 years ago, and you know, it opened my eyes for sure to a lot of things, but it did set me back in the beginning. Trading ICT definitely set me back in the beginning because I was starting to become profitable beforehand. But then all I was doing was I was trading on the 1 minute time frame and I seen way too many setups because I learned everything that ICT has to offer. SMT, premium and discount, fair value gaps, order blocks, propulsion blocks, mitigation blocks, everything. And when you're looking at that on the 1 minute time frame, you literally see everything, and you take everything as a setup, and you take everything as a trade, and you wonder why you're always blowing accounts. It wasn't until, I built my own system around, ICT concepts, where I was applying it to higher time frame liquidity. I was focusing on my risk management, and I was staying disciplined. That's when I started seeing success with ICT. But when I first started, it really messed me up, man. And I questioned myself. I was like, does this stuff really work? Like, how are these people making money off of it? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, the systems really work, but like it comes down to finding your own system. And you maybe you find success on the 1 minute time frame. Me personally, like I tend to overtrade. I tend to overtrade, and I see too much. I'll scale in way too hard. So I like to stick to the 5 minute. I've found way more success with that. You know what I mean? Have I been successful before trading on the 1 minute time frame? Yeah, I used to trade all the time on the 1 minute time frame on my Top Step accounts. You know what I mean? And got a couple payouts from them like that. But like most of my success has come from focusing on higher time frame liquidity and 5 minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, things of that nature. No, I'm working on my first payout from Apex. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build a buffer on these accounts. I'm taking it super slow. I have like I don't know. I think I have like over 40 days trading on these accounts now. But like I said, these past 2 months trading have been pretty rough too. Not ideal market conditions. There was weeks where I was definitely break even or, just getting profit. These past couple weeks have been a little bit better, but on my 20 accounts, I went into drawdown quite a bit. Um, but I was able to bounce back from it. Just, continuing just following the system, right? Like losing streaks are going to happen, and it's part of the game, but you just got to be able to weather through it. Yeah, man, the rules are really tough. Now, the rule that I was currently talking about, like where I would be down with the trailing drawdown, I would be down $500, $550. That's a tough pill to swallow because, if this trade completely reverses on me, I'm already up on the accounts. So, and then also consistency. I can't be making more than, $800 in a trade if I want to get a payout. What prop firm has the best rules? It's not a prop firm, it's trading your personal account. That's the one with the best rules because you don't have to follow any rules. But what it helps you do though, like trading Apex, and following those rules, it will help you if you abide by them and you're not gambling, it will help you in a sense of you know, trading consistently, right? Whereas, every trade you're risking the same amount, you're scaling in properly, you're doing all the proper things you need to do to be a successful trader. So the rules do help you, right? But it's just a matter of, following them and abiding by them. Okay, so we're getting a little push here. We're breaking out of the zone. I might take profit. I might take profit here, to be completely honest with you. Um, because I don't like how this is kind of like manipulation, right? So I am going to take profit here.
Order filled.
Yeah. So we got a nice little 2R trade there. Nothing too crazy. Um, Price isn't completely supporting going for this open liquidity quite yet. In my opinion, I don't like seeing this chop and this low resistance liquidity that was forming. And then we were sweeping the low here. So we could definitely see price kind of reverse.